Welcome to Chemistry. This is a brief guide to how to write your chemistry lab report. Sometimes teachers will tell you that you can skip some parts of it and not mention them in your report, but this presentation will show you all the different parts of a proper lab report. First of all, before measuring, you need a title of your lab. But the most important thing is to actually know what you have to do. This should be clear from the written purpose of the lab. Write a clear sentence which states the specific purpose of the experiment. Why did you do this experiment? What was the reason of the experiment? Next, you need to understand what your variables are. There are three types of variables: the independent variable, the dependent variable, and the controlled variables. The independent variable is the one we change. It will show on the x-axis. The dependent variable is the one we measure. It changes as we manipulate the independent variable. Therefore, it is dependent on the independent manipulated variable. Control variables are all the variables that are constant around us while doing the experiment, like the light in the room, the temperature in the room, and etc. You should also always list all the equipment you needed to use, and explain what your procedure was like. Imagine you were giving instructions to someone else how to do this experiment, so list all the steps you took while conducting it. When you have done that, you need to show all the results you collected. Enter all observations and data in a neat and orderly manner. Pay attention to units and headings. Do not process or explain data in this section. In this section, you introduce your measured data. Those include any value you get from a piece of equipment, all the observations you can make of the materials which you use, and what happened when you combine them. In the next section, you process your data. Do all the calculations or use graphs and place them here. You show your calculated data here. Those are all values that result from addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. This is always in a table with a proper heading and maybe sometimes include a graph if you're looking at a relationship between variables. Graphs and figures must both be labeled with a descriptive title. Label the axis on a graph. Be sure to include units of measurement. The independent variable is always on the x-axis. The dependent variable, the one we are measuring, is always on the y-axis. Be sure to refer to graphs and figures in the text of your report. The first figure is always figure 1, the second figure is figure 2, etc. The final part of the report is your conclusion. First, write a clear and concise sentence, or maybe two, which answer the purpose by stating the key results. Second, discuss the significance of your results. Your conclusions must relate to your stated purpose or objectives. Tell the reader to what extent your objectives were realized. How do they relate to the purpose stated at the beginning of the report? Third, discuss the reliability of your results. Identify the valid sources of error and explain how they might have affected your results. The sources of error need to be specific. Avoid using all models like might have caused error or could have caused error. Be specific. Don't blame the error on human error or error in calculations. Try to make suggestions for improvement. So a conclusion should ideally have 3 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, you focus on your key results and outcomes. In the second paragraph, you evaluate your experiment by discussing your sources of error. And in the third paragraph, you focus on how you could make this experiment better. Before you turn your lab report in, don't forget to check your spelling, your choice of language, your completed paragraphs with the topic sentences, and whether you labeled everything correctly. I wish you very good luck with your lab experiments and writing the reports.